So here it looks like, and I could be wrong, but let's just have a look. So everything went up. The minimum wage went up, right? It went up by this much, and then everybody's across the board went up by wages. Yeah, it's an illusion. It's a mirage. It's nothing more than an illusion, because as that went up, and you'll argue and say that CEOs that sit at the top of energy companies. Well, we'll look into that. We'll have a dive into that. So your minimum wage goes up and you get an extra £100 in your pocket a year, let's say, for argument's sake. But has your energy prices just gone up by 130? Has your rent just gone up everywhere across the board? Has tax across the board just gone up? Has your council tax gone up? Has your energy bills and your water bills, are they all going up? If you believe that these companies, let's say we take a housing association, right? This is how it works. So there's no way on this earth that those CEOs that sit above those companies actually own those companies or those houses. They don't. And it's basically like saying that the government do not own the energy company. We only own National Grid. These middlemen, God, they take all the money. That's rubbish. It's rubbish. So if I was king, I would set up a government. Why would I set up a government? So I would never fall. The government would always keep falling in my place. I would happily then sit on top of the throne and I'd rule both of them. And then government then sets up councils. Councils then were to build council houses out of the council tax, but then set up housing associations. So that when it all goes shit because they built the houses out of poison, most of them have been built out of poisonous substances, you name it. When we go back in the day, they didn't care about, right? You'll notice something. The houses that they sit in don't have all of these toxic substances in them. Asbestos, name a few. They don't have it. People passed lead paint, no one's testing. And we've got different things inside here, mold growth and fractured foundations and everything else. No one has this, except for people who are in a certain cash bracket, either poor, disabled, or people who are on lower income. You're in a toxic building. And they know this, but they fear that this would come out and this would look bad against the council. So what can we do to hide ourselves or protect ourselves from that? Well, we pretend to distance ourselves. So you're paying a rent, it is going back to the council. It's shadowy. This is shadowy. This is how it happens. So one at the top of the country chain of command sets up government. Government then sets up council. Councils then set up housing associations. And they claim they're nothing to do with us. So then tell me, why does the council have so much control over housing associations? How can these housing associations ignore so much of this stuff, which fundamentally rots something else? How can you have a child go through this? Any child go through this. And the ones that are there to protect you, the councils turn a blind eye, but yet you've got county council, that this would go against fundamental rules of child protection laws. This goes against that. Think about it. It's almost like a coup that they would want you to then get okay, but it's the conditions here are not great. And they're like, oh, but we'll do something now. Well, after a year's worth of breathing all of that in, after a year's worth of going through all of that, after a year's worth of asbestos exposure, after a year's worth of all of this stuff. And then when it comes down to the crunch, that if you manage to successfully take it to court, here, take some money from this bogus solicitor, which doesn't even cover the fact that the council come in and stick extractor fans in, which suck all the heat out. And then your energy bill's gone up. We don't own the energy companies, look, But they can change laws whenever they want. You mean to tell me that you don't own any of that? It's rubbish. So when they up the tax or they up the wages, they'll get this back doubly via hiking energy prices, via hiking the council tax. So in this wage rise, What have you actually gained from it? You're being charged now double what you were. So here, I'll give you a wage increase. We're going to take it back over here. Just an illusion. We don't own the council houses. We don't own the council houses, just in case people start going, where's that money going? Why does council tax keep rising every year if people are paying a rent? That should be going back into the tax pot. Oh no, it goes to a CEO. Oh, so convenient. And the CEO is being paid a large amount of money, probably to keep shut. That's why the government are like, King, can we read this out to you? Is this okay? Yes. But then if you're saying yes to them, you're also saying yes to the opposition as well. Here, I've got two ideas. Here's one, here's the other. One is for, one is against. If a king was in power, you'd be like, that's it, fuck off. In other nations where you have a king and queen that actually rule their nation, they've all fallen. They've all fallen. Why do they no longer have king and queens there? Well, bit different for North Korea, but... So you have to keep them on the very basic, bare minimum in order to keep your rulership, because there won't be an uprising or anything else like that, because they're too weak to. That one's done with food. Here, it's done like, whoa, that's close. That's close. There will be an uprising. People will stand up and then demand this, this, and this. Same as it in Paris, right? They would have learnt this. Then it would have studied human behavior behind it. Then they would put things in the way. There's no way this is a democracy here. No way. Too much control, too much... and it changed from Elizabeth to Charles. This has changed. It's more ruthless, don't give a shit about kids. And I believe you are responsible for this, Charles. I really do. I don't think this is government. I think this is you. I think the buck stops with you. Is it trial by fire, did you say? Trial by combat? But I think it's you doing this, but in a very shady sort of way. Not one that's open and obvious to people. And if you can do this to everyday people, what else are you doing? What else have you done? And therefore, you are not voted in and you are not voted out. There was a change from Elizabeth to Charles. There's been a change. Yeah. There was more caring about children when Elizabeth was around. Notice that? Yeah. Child tax credit, as many children as you want. They were really hot on not doing this to kids and different things like that. Then you get a man come in the throne, and then there is this, you will only have this many kids. Well, it come out just before she was, yeah, but I think it was transitioning. I think there's a few years where you get to take the reign. I think all of these problems in society that we see, so much unrest, is your leadership. Well, I think this is you. I think this falls down with you. But it's so shadowy. It's so hidden. It's so behind the scenes. It's unbelievable. And I think that you set up a government for this purpose. And I think the government has set up councils. The councils that are supposed to have all of these council houses that sold them without even asking the people. Who did you ask for that? Where was the vote? And therefore you think that you can do whatever you want with taxpayers' money. But when did you lower the money for that? You don't. You still keep paying it and then moving over the tax pot. We're going to shut this one down. We're going to no longer pay for council houses. So now we've got a problem. I mean, you come unstuck with that one. Didn't quite calculate that one very well, did you? No, I think this is a kingdom structure here. But you play God, you know, you play God, you play chosen. I don't think you are. You're not chosen. Inheriting something is not chosen. Because when you start fucking things up, the people would then have the power to remove you out. But you don't want to get out of the way. You want to be the boulder in the river, but the problem is the flow ratio. You didn't calculate for the flow. No, I think this is you, Charles. I really do. I think this is you. I think you're doing this. Because, you know, you seem like, oh, but I don't have any power. What a load of bullshit. If you didn't have any power, then why are you there? So I think it's more like this. I think it's more shadowy like this. I think this is how it runs, operates. That's why we never see any real big change until there is a different king, queen, king. We see changes. When you follow backwards, you see a pattern happen. Every time there's a changing monarch, there's a change in society structure. Because they've all got their slight personality touch, right? That pattern, there's a pattern there. And then you use taxpayers' money and the workforce. You build a load of stuff, and then you wink, wink, nudge, nudge, sell it on. Sell it on, 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 sell it on. I think this is what's happening here. Power isn't about a piece of frickin' paper and about, oh, what rules I have got and I haven't. No, you go and take it. After all, it's manipulation and domination. You go and take it. It's not given to leaders in a fucking parliament. It's taken. But whilst you convince the population that, you know, you have no power and all the rest of it. You see, that's the thing, right? So when the Houses of Parliament collapse here, what do you think would happen? That we would be lawless? No, fucking king would stand up and take his rightful place, right?
Yeah.
The same way they ruled over all religion, right?
Yeah.
In Britain. Who rules the religion here?
Okay.
King.
Yeah.
Who removed God and put themselves at the top? That's what I think is happening here. That's why I think there's that sort of, you know, And then the energy bill hikes here. I mean, I've got less stuff in this property because it's in storage, and my bill is more. That's not an extra 130 quid added on there. No, that's a lot more than that.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So, you mean to tell me that when I was burning stuff on the grid, it was less, and now that I've got less in the property, the bill is more? More than it has ever been? 3 figures each month? Come on. But I noticed that when I get more speaky, the bills are increasing around me. It seemed like a little game. That's a smart meter, that is.
Yeah.
And then why do we need all smart meters in the house in the UK? Well, take a look at this. How much more control do you have over a person when you can up their bills at will? That's with solar panels, apparently energy rating of C on the property, which the council gave. An energy rating of C? And the bills are 3 figures?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Yeah.
There's less in the property and the bills are more. That's weird. But yeah, I've been speaking out against the establishments and everything else, and then, things are going up and up and up and up around me. I mean, whew. That's really interesting, that is. Wait, it must be heating. There's no point having them on. This is the only property I think I've ever been in with a high fucking energy certificate, C rating, and yet it's the coldest one I've ever been in.
Yeah.
You can have the freaking storage heaters on full blast, but there's a really bad smell here due to the mold and everything else. Oh, but we'll come and fix it. Then why was this not fixed before you move into a property? That's what I ask. And therefore, why is it closely monitored to my health records? That all of the things written in my health records, that this, and this, all of these things would be something that would compromise it. Well, then you must be telling porkies. Really? That's interesting. That is very interesting. But yet, CEO at Saffron, you take the fall for it. That's what you're paid to do. But it's okay, because nothing will happen to you, because you just use your money. Yeah, this is what I feel this is. Well, it must be the government. Yeah, partly you. At any chain of these commands, you can say no. And then, if it's not you, the king, then where are you standing up? Well, you're not, because I don't have any power, flim-flamming. I think that's illusion. I think that's bullshit. You don't have no power. Who set up the House of Lords again? House of Commons? There don't seem to be many commoners in there.
No.
And then when it all goes down, we can blame the Labour Party, can't we? Or we can blame this, or we can blame that.
Yeah.
So it keeps the coup under wraps, doesn't it? It keeps all of that sort of stuff as always looking like a particular party that did it. They take the fall.
Yeah.
Well, did that work? Didn't it work? I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, I will up the wages, everyone. But what you don't realise is they up the tax. You don't have enough gold and silver in those vaults to fund your war. You know those big gold vaults? You don't have enough? Look, I'll give the elderly this building over here with a fire. Oh, so convenient, isn't it? With all of that gold in the vaults, that is all you can give. And you're sitting on wealth. That's weird. But all you can give is a warm hug to the community that built that wealth. Because you didn't build that wealth. There's no way you built that wealth. Where did you get that wealth from? What work have you ever done? Well, you don't know what it's like to rule a fucking country. Well, no, give us all a chance and maybe we'll all be able to show you. You are sitting on all of that wealth, and now you want more? Yeah, look, you can have a piece of paper with my face on it. What would I trade that for? How about some gold? How about some diamonds? All of that wealth. Oh, but the royal family is one of the most poorest families ever. With that much fucking gold? Are you kidding me? And this shit goes up and up and up and up, right?
Yeah.
Money doesn't.
Money goes down.
You put money in a fucking bank somewhere and think you'll save that. No, you might as well save gold. What the fuck? What, so everybody in the nation starts buying gold from other nations? And then when times get really hard because the money isn't working too well, you'll then buy the gold at a dirt cheap price and then fill your vaults with more and more gold. Because people will trade pieces of paper for it. Because they'll need more of it because there's not much value in it. But I'll offer you more pieces of paper for your pieces of gold. Well, enjoy it, because when it all fucks up, you can eat it. You can eat all of that. I hope it fills your belly. That's why this nation is fucked up. Freedom, dictators wrapped in democratic clothing. We're going to bring back treason laws. Yeah, I'm sure you will. But doesn't treason work against people, not establishments?
That is a good question.
Must be something in the name. Gee me, you even steal religion. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. And if we think back to the Kets as well, oh my days. Oof. I don't know. This is where it feels for me. This is just where it sits. It just feels very. There's been a change, hasn't there, in behaviour of this country that hadn't changed for many years. Now there's a change, and it's not for the best. So if you will siphon off religion, anyone that's innovating, if they don't fit a certain mold, you'll siphon off of them as well. Siphoning. You know? And if it ain't you, what is it you always say? Prove it. Prove it. Because when we're all fucking done with, when we're all done, we all are kicked back in that pot, and then the pot gets larger and larger and larger, and they're all slowly but surely taken over. We're all done with. We're expendable. We serve no purpose. You can tell because the way a nation treats the poorest in society, that is insight. Why? Because you can all be poor. And how do you become poor? Less and less work, taken over by more and more robotics. then your job is obsolete. Then what do you become? Well, then you go down to another job, and then down to another job, and then down to another job, and down to another job, until there are no more left, because then your service is no good. Then you're just as expendable as the poor. Unworthy, unthis, unthat. You paid into the pot. I paid into the pot. I'm a hardcore taxpayer. Well, tell me, what are these taxes doing for you? And if your kids don't step up, you're not allowed to control. Now, that would be unfair. And then that's if they don't get taken over by robotics. Because of reasons, excuses. Well, you're too slow. You don't work fast enough. You argue back. Like, oh, come on, I got to pay you a wage after all. As long as I'm sitting on a mansion of fucking gold, which you could build frickin' a whole city out of, the amount you've got. People have got pieces of paper that are up and down in wealth. Up and down, up and down, up and down. So unless you've got a large amount of it, and then there's a reason why these won't pay a tax. You see, I could be sitting there going, hey, fuck you rich people, and the rich could be like, hey, fuck you poorer people. No, I got to ask a question. Why do you not pay a tax? Because you know it's bullshit. Because you know it doesn't go back into society. You pay a road tax. What's it for? You would think after all the street lamps being made and the roads of not more being built. Well, you'd think it'd be easier with a larger amount of tax that was made for building roads and different things like that it would begin to pay for all the potholes. That would be pretty fucking cheap, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know how expensive this is? You would think with them no longer maintaining council houses and all of this money came in from selling these council houses that there would be more than enough money in the pot to build new council houses. Oh, but it's too expensive. Oh, did the tax not go up with inflation then? It did.
Yeah. It always goes up.
So it's been going up and up and up and up and up, yeah?
Yeah. But someone has deeper and deeper pockets.
You see, they fear the military, they fear it. Because there are people on this at the moment. But when it's taken over with robotics, they won't fear you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll be pushed into the same cesspot you helped create. But it's all got to be done under the guise of, is it or isn't it? That's conspiracy. He's a fucking crazy loony bin. I wish I were.
That's why it is so great, that AI, isn't it? It helps you with this, it helps you with that. And then it will help you with your job. And with your wage as well.
They're the enemy over there. Them. Are they though? Are they the enemy? They're the ones that control people. Do they though? Do they?
I don't know.
Or is it because you want to control them? And they might be your only freedom. Look, you do whatever the fuck you want in your nation with your people, but you ain't come bringing that shit here. And the ones that are dressed up like Christmas trees full of evil, this, they're bad, they're everything else, might not actually be. Maybe they know something that we are all blind to because we're born in the fucking pond. They know of a river, you're born in a pond. And they see it and fear it and think, I don't want to be that. I don't want that for the people here. We must go after these people because they're very bad. Okie dokie. Very bad at what? Usually the ones that are uncovering the truth, right? Looking back throughout history, starting to work things out, and the ones that caused the biggest change. Princess Diana, JFK, Martin Luther King. Keep going. Galileo. Keep going. These people spoke out against the control restraints. It's still happening to this day. More covert though, it's become more difficult. They don't want to go to space for some reason. The nations that are going to space are drawn apart between this fucking massive battle between one another. Do you ever think that your capabilities are you're being lured into this? This depletes you. Your nations become broke. Then the EU. This is because you have something. What is that? Space programs. If you turned your attention to it, you start gaining a lead. JFK, Khrushchev. What were they doing? Going towards space? Going towards space? Now the EU have jumped on that bandwagon too with their space program. Who would not want you to go there? Well, they're not exactly going to say, oh, don't go to space. They're going to drag you into something that comes more costly. Because the abundance in resources. This topples the structure. And then both sides got into this mourning because of assassinations, right? On both sides there were assassinations. And then slowly but surely, this begins to melt everything down. Because it liberates you. Because you are following a divine path. One that's laid out. Maybe not aware. Maybe you were. But others who know the divine would see it. They would know this too. Hence why they might want to move you away from it via changing certain things about it, right? So, you know. Isn't it weird that they kill someone and then write the narrative as to what they were doing? But you're not actually hearing it from their mouth. You're hearing it from the victor's mouth, or so-called victors. the illusion of victory, which in actual fact isn't victory because it's suppression and then it becomes twisted. Because in the chance that if you make it to space and space becomes feasible, do you know what you will do? Their fear, number one fear, that everybody around the world will look at that and think, why am I still doing this shit here? I want to be a part of that. And you could potentially be the ones that go, come on then. What does that do to any empire? Well, it collapses it. It can't function without its people. But until you get robots on the table, fucking hell, that's going to be an even more of a thorn in the side. Less people, less hands. Play around with food, maybe. Make people feel tired and exhausted. I mean, I hope it ain't what it is, but oh my days. You don't often get what you want. Some days you want to talk about unicorns and rainbows. You got to be positive, right? But being positive is not where it's at. Hey, officer, you got to be positive. You got to think it. You got to be this. Don't question anything. Why? Whereas Kennedy was welcoming scrutiny, transparency, I find secrecy repugnant. Ooh. Ironic that his death has been one of the biggest mysteries ever. That's like defiling his name, isn't it? You don't like secrecy? Well, we're going to make it so that you are not known what happened and this, that, and the other. Then that leaves you to spin a narrative of what happened. Might not be accurate, but... And then it could look like it was one or the other. And then it's probably never who you think it is. Just both of these leaders, one was done and then slightly after the other one was done. This could have kick-started a Cold War. Well, this could have kick-started something. But why would it kickstart a war between two nations that were planning to prosper together?
They were planning to end it, maybe.
Well, they did end it with the space race, and they had their little lovers tiff with one another, sending each other different, which is nice, actually. Yeah. That's strong leadership. Yeah. Because it charged one another, and then there were talks, whether that would actually fruition or not, that it could be possible if they were to merge together, which would help both sides get certain places quicker. Again, this is following a path. I recognize that pattern. I see that I feel that. There's almost like, it's hard to explain it. I recognize that pattern. So this definitely would have been beneficial for both nations to keep going with this. And that makes me question the rest of the world in that. Where is that? And then I could look at that and it'd be like, oh, it's probably that one, or it was probably this side, or it's probably this side. No. Let's look around a little bit more about that, shall we? Who would not want that to happen? Take your pick. More to the point, why would you not want that to happen? Well, because we're not there. We have no plans of going there. Rah-de-rah-de-rah. This talks about freedom, liberty, resources, common fellowship, bringing people together, all places. More opportunity. That's a freaking dream, that. New pioneers, and it changes the face of the world. People let go of battles. People let go of the trivial shit. This is the biggest thing of their lives. And then now it's all stopped. Now we're distracted. Give me just a little bit longer to get the robots, getting a little bit longer to get this, getting a little bit longer before we get that. Could you imagine if they all found a way forward? All of the ones that are loggerheads right now, if they all found a way forward.
Depends what is the way forward.
Reaching in some sort of agreement. And then if they were to focus their attention to space, not because you're being told to, not because you're being made to, go in, feel it. Is that where it's at? It's going to take a lot of nations to come together, and it's going to take a lot of different resources being lifted, people being lifted, things being brought back, then manufactured, then put back up. Bit by bit, start building. That's a brand new empire. That's a new way. That is literally the new dawn, isn't it? A place where the sun never sets. Because it doesn't. Where trees, forests, plants, and food get to grow in abundance. You've noticed it. What happens when you bring a plant indoors, especially a strawberry plant, and it doesn't shut down during the winter? How big are your berries next year? How many more do you get? How faster does it produce? How long does it go on producing for? If you got one that's outside and it's very seasonal, well, it's good. But this way is definitely better. When you take them out of the soil and make them more hydroponic, mixed in with different medium, charged up with volcanicity, flooding chambers, empty chamber, flooding chamber, empty chamber, all of that nutrients. More berries, bigger berries, more food, more oxygen, more carbon absorption. It can't be done on the earth. It can, but it's tedious. You'd have to dig the lands. No one is willing to do that. The real estate, the purer water that you can get. Do you know that's impossible? Not in my vocabulary. It actually doesn't even, it says I'm possible. I don't think Britain wants it. They want militaries, they want might, they want weaponry, they want to get rid of their people. They don't give a shit. Control, more control. Here, we've got a law here for this, but it's okay, you don't need to worry about it. This place can be a shithole. What about this, this, and this? Well, we can up your energy, we can waste yours, it doesn't matter. Whatever keeps you broke. Yeah, it doesn't want it. It doesn't want it.
Yeah, it will be another nations.
Unless you're in a certain building somewhere, perhaps.
Britain will be bad example. Other countries won't follow.
I don't think Britain wants it. I don't know if that is a controlled choice, an accidental societal choice. Go to a bank, there's always a reason why they can say no. Never a reason to say yes and get behind you. Look, you've got to go and work in that factory for about 50 to 60 years. Then maybe we'll give you something. Barely. Britain don't want it. And that's the fear of, I think, is control. I think it fractures the control structure. That's what it does.
Yeah.
Because then you can have a choice then if you've built a module up there.
Yeah.
You can say, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'll go and do my own thing over here. No, you will not. Come on, if they didn't have the control, what else have they got?
Nothing.
Nothing. Bars of gold. What else do you have? Privilege? What have you got? When this all falls?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Just their corrupted friendships that keep them where they are.
Well, that doesn't work, does it? No, that's why I think it is all like this. I think it's deliberate.
Of course it is.
And whereas I'm told that the storms get much more, the more closer you get to your breakthrough, likewise. That's easier said into a mirror. That is reciprocal. Is that the right word? As for me, as for you. But you've got to overcome your challenges. Isn't that what you tell me? You've got to overcome yours too, then. Sounds like me, we're in the same boat. Budge up, give me an oar then, I'll paddle with you. And if this is a test, you're forged in the fire. Man. And so are you. Maybe somehow we can inspire one another in this. So my advice to you would be keep fucking going. Don't quit, don't give up, keep going. It's always darkest before the dawn, isn't that what you say? Keep going. And then shit me, we need eyes and ears everywhere, up our own asses sometimes, I think. Any person that traitors their own country, no. Any person that goes against their own fucking people, that stands for. Leadership is about helping your people move to a better, not forcing them. Because they will feel it authentically. And then when they're feeling authentic like that, they will walk towards it willingly. Why? Because it's real. There is opportunity. There is, after this, there's something for my children. That inspires hope. This way? What's it do? What's the inspiration? What are you going to leave for your kids? Nothing. You haven't even got time for them. You haven't even got this. You haven't even got that. Look at the planet. Look at the state of everything. The dull concrete streets and just, fuck me, if it weren't for the light. Whoa, depression is not the word for it. It was a good start. It served a purpose, but really, whoa, to keep going like this, it's amazing how it works, isn't it? It's so toxic to the human mind, isn't it? Isn't that beautiful? Don't you think that's the greatest self-defense mechanism? That against all the rain and the pain, there is this self-defense mechanism built into every single person. You're seeing it. The candles are lit. The fuel needs to be spat on them. Then our collected light come together. Look how bright we get. The more we have joined, the more brighter we become. And the power of a star. It's all about the small bits working together. That's why there's never one above anyone. It's about the group. But it's going to take good leaders to give you a lift. It must not be a nice environment living around fucking protection all the time. I'm going to leave this one here.